the Bogd Palace Museum. Our museum was built from 1893 to 1903 and was one of the 4 royal residences of the Bogd, known as the Green Palace.
Buddhism was introduced to Mongolia 3 different times. The earliest introduction came through India and occurred during the periods of the nomadic empires Shanyu, Nirong, Turuk, Uyghurs, and Mongolian Khitans. The second introduction took place during the period of Chinggis Khan and his immediate successors up until Toghon Tumur Khan from the 13th to 14th century. The third introduction began in 1578 and is called Buddhist Renaissance period. During the years between 1639 to 1924, 8 Bogd reincarnations were all recognized as the head of religion on Mongolia. Within Buddhist hierarchy, the Dalai Lama is the highest leader, followed by the Panchen Bogd or Panchen Irten and the Bogd Javtsendam. These Hotokt reincarnations were regarded as living gods and revered by many as such. Of these, the Bogd Javtsendams were especially important in Mongolia. They were extremely impactful to the structure of the nation.
Bogd was the only theocratic ruler of Mongolia, meaning that he was head of state and head of religion. And he was also the last king of Mongolia. After his death in 1924, the palace was converted into a museum in 1926, and since then it has been 100% conserved and is the only authentic palace museum in Mongolia.
Made by Mongolian traditional builders and architects, the Bogd Palace Museum consists of 2 parts: summer temples and the winter palace. The 7 summer temples are comprised of the following: the Maharajas temple, the temple of appliques, the temple of Thankas, the temple of many deities, the library temple, and the Labrang temple. The winter palace consists of a 2-story European-style building.
This is the Yampe Shield Wall located in front of the museum. It was made from blue brick and was meant to protect the palace from otherworldly evils and dangers. It is one of the 3 shield walls located in Mongolia and can only be built with special permission from the Manchu Qing Emperor. This is the Peace and Happiness Gate. It was built to symbolize independence from the Manchu Qing dynasty rule. It was built without a single nail and instead used interlocking wood. The king entered through the central gates while the monks and nobles followed through the side gates.
The Gate of Peace and Happiness was built to memorialize the proclamation of the 8th Bogd, sunlit and eternal, as theocratic king of Mongolia from 1912 to 1919. The gate was built without single nail. Instead, it consists of 108 interlocking wooden pieces. It is one of the 5 monuments held together by interlocking puzzle pieces in the world.
This is the first of the 7 glorifying temples, called the Maharajas temple. It contains the 4 guardian kings made from paper mache. This temple is meant to cleanse and purify you as you walk through it.
The temple was built in 1903 and features 4 Maharajas that sit in guard over the Buddha inside. There are 4 continents in the mythical religion. Each continent has a legend that protects the multicolored kings from both the seen and the unseen. Maharaj is Maharaja in Sanskrit. Maha means great and Raja means king. When the Maharaja is worshipped in the temple, it protects the temple from enemies by eradicating internal and external barriers. When people enter the Maharaja temple, it's said that bad things, both visible and invisible, fall away.
This is the Temple of Appliques. Appliques is a Buddhist art form that uses the layering of silk, gold threads, and precious gems.
Жилийн аймгийн бараа үйлдвэрч гүшүүнэ малчид байна. Манай энэ одоо 37 малчид хамтдаа одоо энэ Богд хаан гэгээнэ одоо дурсгалд музейн орны сонирхгоор бараа үйлдвэрнээс одоо аялж гарч ирлээ. Одоо олон сайхан сум хийд янжаараа харагдаж байна. Түүхийн улваа түүх маань Монголын түүх маань тэр янзаараа манай тархинд харваж орлоо. Ингээд мөч одоо дотор нь ороод таархнууд борход маань өнгөтэй гэлж сум хийдэм маань одоо энэ дуган гэтэр одоо олон жилийн түүхийн дурсгалч зүйлүүд бидэнд харагдлаа. За ингээд мөн ч одоо нэг Монгол туурхтны салвар болсны хавьд манай 37 жугаач ихсэд бол одоо үнэхүү манай Монгол төрдөн бол үнэхүү жинхэнэ Монгол амьдрал түүх соёлыг хадгалж байх юм байна гэдэгт бол одоо их хангамжтай хариулт олж мөн ч Монгол улсын маань Монгол төрийн маань улам илүү цаашид хөгжин бадраж хүн ард нь тавтай тавлан байхаа гэдэгт итгэл төгөлдөр байна.
The art of silk applique was the leading trend in the early 19th and 20th centuries. The creations featured high-quality artistic designs made by famous artists. The artists were able to add creativity through colorful silks and satins. A welcome change from the black and white photographs of the era. These appliques are a great example of how the artistic imagination and art of the Mongolian people echoed Buddhist art.
Домдод улсаас ирээд Монгол улсад ирж Богд хааны энэ сайхан ордныг одоо тайран үжилээ. Сум бол одоо их хуучин түүхтэй түүхэн улваатай ийм сум хийдэм байна. Одоо энд бас гажир бүгдөөс улс гажир орны бүх дэлхийн хөвчөнэ энэ гажир орноос бол одоо их үжиж сонирхож байгаа судалж Хоролж хосоод осоод их олон байх юм байна. Нэгд бол одоо энэ Богд хааны ордныг үжиж сонирх нь, хоёрд бол одоо манай үндэснийхээ нэг шашин хөтлөгийг энэ нэг ухаагдууны бас одоо зөв талаас нь ойлгож мэдэж авах. Одоо ийм нэг зорилготой. Ийм одоо хөчний мянган гажрын алсаас ирээд бол одоо бас өөрийн хүсэл зорилгоо бол өнөөдөр ирж одоо бурхан Богдтаа бол одоо даатарч шүтсэн байна.
From the monarchy of the early 17th to 20th centuries, we learn about Mongolian religion and culture. We see these things through a variety of exhibitions held here. The most recent exhibition presented to the public was named Treasure Fund.
This is a temple of tankas. Tankas are a Buddhist art form which uses mineral paint made from crushed precious stones and gems.
The monks and the Han servants stayed in this temple while the Bogd performed religious rituals. The gods in this temple are works from the 18th and 19th centuries.
C'est vraiment un travail.
Торго дээр зурсан зургууд үнэхээр таалагдлаа.
маш нарийн хийцтэй бүтээлүүд. Бидний хувьд энэ олон бурхтыг ялгах хэцүүж үнэхээр урлагийн гайхамшигт бүтээлүүд юм. Дараагаар нь энэ их зургнууд таалагдсан. Энэ музейн эргэн тойронд ийм их орчин үеийн барилга баригдсан нь харамсалтай.
This is a Naron temple, which currently displays Buddhist musical instruments. But it was originally where monks, in groups of up to 60, large religious ceremonies. And here we have a trumpet and a gong, which were used to symbolize the beginning of religious ceremonies. Over here, we have cymbals, trumpets, and in the middle, we have a damaru. And here we have more cymbals, a trumpet, a smaller gong, and bells, and a vajra, and a conch. So here, we have blessing sticks, which are extended to the people for almsgiving. And here are the deities that represented longevity.
The first time I came to Mongolia was 9 years ago. And then I arrived this week for a second tour. I think all museums are important. They capture the history of a country. So this museum is doing that. Some Mongolian leaders, religious people were here, and it's good to recount and have for a record what they did. So this museum does a very good job with that.
This is a temple of many deities, which displays Buddhist art made from various artistic methods, including wood carving, bronze casting, and papier mache.
After the Green Palace was built, the 8 Bogd received representatives from local communities here. In Mongolia's theocratic period, it was renamed as the Buddhist Deities Foundation Temple. Today, it displays many Buddhist deities of the early 17th to 20th centuries.
This is the library temple, which once housed thousands of religious sutras and was used by the Bogd for his religious readings.
In the library temple, more than 8,000 religious sutras were kept. Foreigners who traveled to Mongolia during this period wrote that the books of Babylon that contained secrets and mysteries were stored in this very library as well. Most of them are currently in the State Central Library. In addition to some of the scriptures, printing method and stupa replicas are also on display.
Here we have examples of the sutras he read, and if we look over here, there is a seat that he used to read on, which was made out of ebony wood and has a mat made out of lion skin. The frame inset with precious stones such as coral, turquoise, and agate was meant to provide luxury and finery for the green Tara inside. Over here, we have the deity Mateus, which was made in 3 different regions, Poland, Tibet, and Inner Mongolia. And even though all 3 were made in strict accordance to Buddhist canon, all 3 of them display different characteristics and features. This is the Labran Temple, where only Bogd and his highest monks were permitted. It currently contains masterpieces made by the first Bogd Zambat.
The Green Palace was built using a unique technology that makes it cool even during the heat of summer. The word Labran means main temple. The temple has 3 floors. The 3rd floor was reserved for the worship of Bogd's main deity, Order.
I think the most interesting presentations, I guess, were the buildings themselves. Just the architecture is so different to anything we have. And also just the amount of statues and how they lived here, like they were all very interesting. But I think to see how the king and queen lived and the furniture they use and the clothing they wear and all their statues and the strong ties to Buddhism, it's very interesting. But of course the first impression is the buildings.
Bogd's Winter Palace. The Winter Palace was built in 1903 from a Russian architect's blueprints. The top floor of the Winter Palace was where foreign and domestic dignitaries and officials were received. It also contains the rooms where the Bogd and the Queen rested. The Winter Palace displays many exhibits such as Queen Dondogdolom's dragon pattern silk deel, the infinity patterned deel, the Queen's head dress, tobacco pipe, prayer beads, peacock feather vest, chair and bed made of ebony wood, and a vanity table. There are wall decorations presented by Chinese craftsmen and the Bogd's Buddhist ritual clothing and regalia, as well as protective deities, and ornaments made of ivory. Here you can also see the Bogd's 9 dragons deel, a beaver skin hat, a cording vest, a silk vest with the same symbol, a pearl-trimmed crown, and a vest made of 80 sables that belong to the Undurgigen Zanotar. There's also a deel made of sable which was worn by the Bogd when he was proclaimed ruler of Mongolia. Bogd's snuff, knife, stationery, the king and queen's official throne seats, and the state stamp are all preserved here. The Bogd ceremonial vest, which was made with 22,000 pearls, is preserved here too. The Bogd kept quite an exotic collection of animals, including monkeys, parrots, and even an elephant. In 1901, a taxidermy animal collection was created that featured animals from every corner of the world. One of the most important historical sites is the museum, We visited the Bogd Palace Museum, and the museum's exhibits truly display the history of Mongolia. The museum is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day of the week. Ticket price: adult 8,000 tugruk, student 3,000 tugruk, children 1,500 tugruk.
Well, I think Mongolia is a place everybody should come if they have a chance. They can see the beautiful national park, and of course eating the Mongolian food and several fantastic museums here. So it's the Mongolian people have been very friendly. So I perceive it as a very safe place to be. So I think it's a good place to come and relax and enjoy a different culture and some different food. And I think people would have a very good time if they came and enjoyed Mongolia.